In today's video, we're going to have a look at how Chelsea got on against Wrexham in their first friendly, how things looked under Mauricio Pochettino and what we can expect. So for me, there was 5 key performances to highlight. Just to point out, I think everybody actually had very good games. I think there was very few people that I would point out to having poor performances, though there was a couple, but I won't get into that today because I want to keep it positive. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Cassidy. I think he was excellent. I think he was very promising, picking up the ball and driving through the midfield, sort of like we did see with Kovacic in the past, where he progresses the ball with his progressive running through midfield and his driving. He also got an assist, very nice weighted pass to Nkunku. So I was very impressed with Cassidy, and I think if he continues to prove throughout pre-season, I think he could earn himself a place in the squad for the season. But we have to make sure we use him properly and we don't stunt his development by keeping him at the club and not fully using him, giving him minutes. The second player to point out is Nicholas Jackson, who as of right now will be starting the season as Chelsea's number 1 forward. Assuming that Nkunku will take the number 10 position behind the striker, Nicholas Jackson, with Brozier still coming back from injury, looks like he'll be the starting number 9 at the start, unless there's any signings before the end of the transfer window. But to start the season against Liverpool, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Jackson starting up front, even if we do sign somebody just due to timing. Jackson looked very lively, constantly making great runs in behind and causing the opposition defence a lot of problems. He always wanted to be involved, and he also got a great assist for the opening goal, showing close control in tight areas and just his ability to make things happen in attack. So that is very positive signs. And from what we've seen from him from one game and also what we've seen from him at Villarreal, I am very pleased with him, and I think he could end up being a gem of a buy. The last player I'm going to point out from the first half is Malo Gusto, the player that we signed in January, but he stayed on loan at Lyon, stayed with Lyon for the rest of the season. He picked up an injury, but he also obviously played some more games for Lyon after returning from injury and just before he got injured since he signed for Chelsea. And now we've just seen him in a Chelsea shirt for the first time, and I think he looked very assured on the ball. He wasn't very tested defensively, so I think it's going to be important to see him in these next upcoming games against Premier League opposition, where he'll actually have some defending to do one-on-one, so it'll be good to see that. But I think on the ball, he looked very good in possession. He looked like he got into some good crossing positions. Weren't always the best delivery, but again, the first 45 minutes we've seen of him in a Chelsea shirt, it's just about getting his sharpness, and I think this is just going to be a good piece of business. As I said at the time, he will offer cover for Reece and he will offer competition for Reece, and this could also help with Reece's injury record in the long term. Moving into the second half players, and Angelo was very, very bright. He's the first thing that I thought of when I thought of the second half, just in the sense of he was getting on the ball. He looked very comfortable on the ball, which is not a surprise, as that's what I've heard from Brazilian fans that have watched him before. Very good on the ball, very technically gifted, and his assist was a brilliantly weighted pass, and also his cross to Raheem Sterling, which Sterling headed wide at the back post. Or it was wide or over at the back post, but I just remember the cross, it was perfect. It was so well weighted, and that weight of pass and delivery in the final third is massively important. And if he shows that for the rest of this pre-season, there's no reason he can't be the 4th winger that Chelsea have been talking about in terms of Mudryk, Sterling, Madueke, and one more winger to offer cover in both those areas. So if he can carry on what he's done so far in pre-season for that 45 minutes against Wrexham, and he can prove it against Premier League opposition, then there's no reason he can't be that deputy right winger this season and charge his way to a Chelsea starting position at only 18 years of age, challenging Noni Madueke. That would just be very good for us in general. And the last player I'm going to mention, he had a bit of a quiet 45 minutes, but I just wanted to go over him quickly in this video because although he barely touched the ball, he was playing in the 9, which isn't his primary position. He's comfortable there, and he said he's comfortable there, but even Pochettino's come out after and said that he sees him as the 10, and it was more of a short-term fix playing him out in that 9 because we only had Jackson and him due to Mason Burstow picking up a knock before the game. So what I was going to say about Nkunku is basically he came in and linked the ball up a few times, which we know he can do, and of course the big one, he scored his goal. 1 chance, 1 goal, made a great run in behind. Cassidy found him with a great pass, and he rounded the keeper. wasn't the cleanest of rounding the keeper. Like, the keeper got a touch and he sort of went behind him, but then he chopped it straight back onto goal with a great little finish and just a clever finish, clever rounding the keeper. It's something that Nkunku does often, rounding the keeper, and also his chipping ability, his ability to lob the keeper. He's just very calm one-on-one, and I think that's going to really help Chelsea this year because we've not had that for a while, and I think he could end the season as our top goal scorer, but we'll see. And now to quickly touch on the two tactics Pochettino used. So in the first half, we saw his sort of 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 formation. This saw Jackson making those runs in behind the channels. Maatsen and Moreira were pushed up wide on the wings, also coming inside to offer as those inside forwards. Carney was basically playing as a 10, but he was drifting between the two on that left side. Same as Cassidy. He would sometimes occupy that 10 area, but he was more dropping in on that right side. And at times, we also saw Santos and Cassidy both dropping in to that hole to offer as a half-back, which is obviously something Pochettino did with Spurs, with Eric Dyer. So this is something that I covered earlier when we signed Pochettino in the summer, where I think that we could see Pochettino using a half-back at times for Chelsea. It's just who would do it. And I think that the fact he's using Santos in that way, that also would bode well for Caicedo, I think. So I think both of those could easily play in that half-back role in terms of building up the first phase of play, allowing Enzo to then push into that forward line and be the creator in the final third rather than having to dictate the first phase of play to build up and help Chelsea break out from the back. So that would be perfect. And I think Santos did that very well. And I also think Cassidy did that very well at times when he dropped into the back line and did the same. And of course, the fullbacks pushing up high, Gusto and Cucurella. Cucurella wasn't as high, but Cucurella is not really an attacking fullback. He's more so likes to get involved in the build-up at the back. So we saw that as well. Moving into the second half where we saw more of a 3-4-3. So we had the three centre-backs, Humphreys, Chalobah and Gilchrist. We had just those three, just normal back three, really. It felt like they were just building up play from the back, getting on the ball. Gallagher and Santos were sort of alternating who came in and picked up the ball and who went a bit further on. Cassidy was the man who moved forwards in this scenario. He moved into that right attacking mid-role, but he sort of played a lot more centrally. So I think the idea was Angelo on that right wing-back was going to provide all of the width. And Cassidy was sort of going to play in that Eriksen role where he sort of drifts inside and plays more of a 10, where rather than a right attacking mid/right winger. Same with Sterling, but Sterling offered a little bit more width because he's more natural to playing on that left-hand side. This, of course, included Chilwell offering the width with Sterling as well, so they was often teaming up on that left-hand side and offering overlaps. But also something that was very interesting is Chilwell was offering inside a lot more, being more of an inverting into central midfield, which is something we've never really seen Chilwell do because he is much more of a touchline wing-back, likes to get up and down and use his energy and his speed and those athletic assets that he has. So seeing him drop into midfield could be interesting for the future. Could we see Maatsen do that? Could we see Cucurella do that? Does Pochettino want to see if Chilwell can do that role? It will be interesting to see when the season starts. So who did you think performed well for Chelsea? Who do you think could improve? And what did you think of the tactics that we saw on show? Please do let me know in the comments down below. Just want to quickly point out, Ian Maatsen also had a very good game, scoring 2 goals. But I didn't want to go overly into detail about him because I don't see him playing left wing in the future. I think everybody knows that. I think Pochettino just wanted to see him in a higher role in terms of when he's playing left wing back. That's a similar area to where he'd operate. And those 2 goals are only going to help him. So yeah, leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time.